Hello, my beautiful friends. It's been a little while since I've posted a video, and that has been actually purposeful because truly what I've been prompted to be doing right now is focusing on me and my healing and not spending quite so much time thinking about everybody else around me. So what came out recently in one of my counseling sessions is that I actually use kindness and concern for other people's problems as a way to dissociate from my own issues, which was something I was completely blind to. But when I shared that with my younger brother, Steven, then he was just like, well, yeah, I've known that for a long time. I was like, what? Why didn't you tell me? But so that was like really interesting to discover. I'm still, I'm still on that same path of like, I know I'm meant to be a counselor. And so the desire is good and right, but really, while I'm healing myself, like it's just, God made it really clear to me. It's like that I just need to focus on myself, to spend my energy on myself and not find these forms of kind of escapism, even though it was kind of a beautiful form of escapism, I guess, if you will, because then I could just focus on everybody else's pain and issues and make them better and then ignore my own, Not that I haven't been dealing with my own issues. Of course I have. You guys have seen that progress and that process that I've been through. But I think especially now as I'm dealing with the deepest wounds, and they are hella painful. Oh my gosh. Like core wounds, basically. Somebody one of my advisors used the idea of like being wounded to my very core, and it resonated, and it's true. So I'm having to really just dig really, really deep to root out. I'm getting distracted by my kitty. She might join me up here. I generally sit on my bed. Yep, she's down at the foot of my bed now while I'm making these videos, because the light from the window gives me a nice glow that enhances the glow that's already popping out. So of course I lost my train of thought. Geez, what was I even talking about? Maybe that was purposeful. Here she comes. Here's my kitty. Here's my kitty. Yeah, did you hear Mommy talking? You want to be a part of this? She's such a sweetheart and so pretty. You got to see her beautiful green eyes there for a second. So anyways, sometimes I feel also like when I'm talking that when like a redirect happens where it's just like God's like, okay, enough about that. I have something else for you to talk about. Although now I'm remembering like the whole core wounds, like that's, yeah, that resonated deeply. So, certainly hasn't been easy. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. But here I am. I'm still pushing through. Like, I just know that I just love this little one so much. Yep. You're my sweet kitty, huh? My sweet kitty. I love you. She's such a sweetheart. And she sometimes senses when I just need a little bit of an energetic boost. And she's like, I'm going to come sit on you now, Mommy. Give you some of my energy. So, you're getting to see how she interacts with me. She's not a particularly, like, friendly cat to other people. And I don't think that she needs to be. Like, her purpose in life is just being my little guardian, my little friend. I've shared that before. She was one of the reasons that I decided not to go when I was suicidal. So she holds a very dear, special place in my heart. And one of the reasons why is because I can always count on her. Like, I can count on her to always love me. Like, that was something that one of my advisors said when I was expressing, like, what Nala meant to me, was that he told me, he's like, well, yeah, she's in your life to be that thing that's never gonna betray me, you know, that's just always gonna love me unconditionally and always be by my side. And she truly does love me. She's a sweetheart. Only to me. Nobody else gets to see her loving personality. Everybody else gets to see her hissing and swatting because she's like, don't touch me. My only reason in life to be here is to be here for Katie. And I kind of love it. And I freaking love her green eyes. They're so pretty. You're so pretty, Miss Kitty. Yeah. And she knows when I'm like complimenting her. She's just like, yeah, that's right. I am beautiful. Anyways, we got distracted by my kitty. But it's kind of nice. I love having her here. This weekend, I drove over to Sisters, actually, to meet a friend. And that was the first time that I drove through that area after the fires. And it's crazy that it's been nearly a year. I think that was in September. Since that really, really bad fire in the Santiam Canyon area. And so it was kind of crazy to still see just how scarred the land is. And especially to drive through the Detroit area, which got hit really, really bad. And so many businesses were lost and so many people's homes. But I'm bringing it up because... So you guys all know I'm an empath. I sense energy. So driving through there, of course, I felt that energy of loss. Like, it was strong, especially around Detroit, you know, because so many people lost their homes. So many good people lost their businesses. So that there was that feeling of loss, both for the people that were that lived there, as well as just in nature for like all the trees that were just singed and burned and destroyed, you know. But what I also sensed there was the energy of hope and resilience. And it actually really inspired me. Like, really inspired me. And so I've been kind of thinking about it off and on all day, and just, you know, I'll have these experiences that kind of send me down this mental path of something that where I'm just like, wow, that's really cool, or that's really deep, and feeling that energy sent me down one of those paths. And I wanted to share it with you because it was hopeful, and we all need hope, especially when we're in the midst of, you know, for myself, a deep, painful healing journey. And, you know, we're all going through a lot. Like, it's a crazy time in our world, you know? So, what I found especially inspiring was driving through the Detroit area, and you just see all of these RVs, which is just people are living in these RVs that are parked, on the foundation of where their homes once stood. And it's been long enough now that people are starting to rebuild. You know, you see like new construction of people who are rebuilding the homes that they lost. And what was so inspiring to me about that is these people literally lost everything that they owned. You know, when your house burns down and everything inside it, it's like everything that ever, you know, that had made your house a home, all the memories, all the mementos, you know, even just stuff like your clothes, everything that was just kind of that you had around you that made you feel at home has been ripped away from you. And these people, it could be natural to be like, do you know what? Screw living here where, you know, forest fires could come and burn my home down. Let's just leave. But what I love is that there's so many of them are like, no, this is my home. Even though the physical, like everything that physically was their home is gone, those roots that they've put down are still there. And they're not giving up on that. And they're just rebuilding. And where my mind went with that as well is the idea of commitments. So, you know, having a house is a commitment. Buying a house is a commitment. You put your money into it. You put your roots there. But there's always, where I'm going with this is there's always risk with commitment. So with, you know, physical things like a house, there's always that risk that some natural disaster like a fire or a flood, or, you know, depending on where you live in the United States or wherever, like could be a tornado or whatever. There's always that risk of loss. And it's one of those things that we take into consideration when we make a commitment. But it's worth it still. And those people who are rebuilding in the Detroit area, that their risk, I would say, is higher than ours. I'm here in the Willamette Valley. So we don't generally have wildfires that come into the valley, although that one that I'm speaking of came close and was threatening Salem even. So like even with the heightened risk, they're like, no, this is worth it. This is my home. I choose this despite the risk. I'm choosing this and I'm rebuilding. And the energy that was coming through was that they're coming back stronger than they were before. And also what happens when you lose on that level, when you experience that level of loss, then as you start to rebuild and you find those things that kind of, you know, you rebuild your home, you're not going to take that for granted ever. And I know I've talked about that in another video of, like, you know, when you've been through crap, you know, when you've been through a life that just, you know, for me, made me want to exit this world because it was so painful. Then as you come out of that, you don't take anything for granted, you know? And that was the energy that I felt driving through, is where they're like, nope, I'm staying. I'm committed to this place. This place is my home. I'm rebuilding and I'm coming back stronger, and I am not going to take this house and this community and nature and everything around me for granted, because all of it is so easily lost in the blink of an eye, you know? And further than just like the physical things like a home or a house, I also started thinking about our relationships in life as well, you know, with your family, with your friends, significant others, you know, any sort of relationship, and commitment to each other, whether that's a friend bond or, you know, husband, wife, or whatever kind of commitment you have. There is risk involved with that, that risk of loss. And actually, not only risk of loss, we know eventually that it is going to happen, as far as, you know, all of us are going to die one day. So there's that. But any other sort of loss as well, you know, and, you know, like, so maybe something just not, what I mean by that is like something not working out or whatever, something that you invested in, but it didn't end the way that you thought it would. But what's so amazing about the human spirit and about relationships and that risk of loss and pain is that it's worth it still. You know, it's like you, if you hold yourself back from committing to anything because you're scared of losing it, you will literally just, like, you'll have nothing. You know, it's kind of, that's kind of harsh, but it's true. Like, the way that we've been designed is to, you know, kind of accept the risk and the loss and the pain that comes along with committing to things. And learning to just enjoy things in the moment. And that's something I have to work on, and I've gotten much better with, is, for me, because of the way that I grew up, and, you know, the way that, you know, with my younger brother being so sick, things could go from calm to a fucking shit show. And I'm sorry about my cursing. Somebody, like, there's a little side note where somebody was just, like, freaking out on me because I curse in these videos. And I'm like, well, okay, if you don't like it, don't watch them. So you have full freedom, all of you, to not watch my videos. As you know, people, I've told you, like, I've set myself free from other people's opinions, and that's one of the reasons I'm able to be outspoken and to be used the way that I am. I'm like tripping over my words. To be used the way that I am, is because nobody, basically the person that was, like, calling me out on that, and even further, oh gosh, here I go. But why not? It's coming up. Was basically indicating that my empath gift and my channeling abilities was something that came from the devil, you know? And she was trying to, you know, besmirch my name. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, what's interesting is I had a really interesting interaction with this person, where when she first came at me with that, I was directed to reply with love, and it was so good. And if she's watching, I was channeling the whole time that I was responding to you, so there you go. I didn't say it, but her misunderstanding was that with channeling, she was of the belief that you cannot make a distinction between good and evil while you're channeling, and that is utterly false, utterly and completely false. So, but you know, everybody's gonna have their beliefs. As I've said in a previous video, I have a very, very firm boundary, and kind of like almost this notice put out to the spirit world of, like, I will not channel anything that is not of the light. I simply won't. So, it is absolutely possible to only channel good things. And I've found that, you know, when I use curse words, for me, it is the language of the dark spirits. So, with that, when I use curse words, it's me kind of acknowledging and speaking directly to those evil spirits and saying, I see you, and you are not going to have a place in my life anymore. You know, I was kind of exposed to that for most of my young years. And so when I use those words for emphasis, it's also me kind of putting that out into the spirit world of just being like, yeah, I will speak your language, and I will curse out the devil. I totally have. And dark spirits. Like, oh gosh, it's because it's so amazing, because I'm like this being of light. And when I use those words to speak, like, directly to evil spirits, they're like, oh shit. Yeah, I just used another one. Oh shit, she's speaking our language. Like, she is not messing around. So there's that for anybody who's been like concerned or just being like, oh my gosh, how can she curse and still be of the light? It's kind of an energetic thing. And I use it for emphasis, to call out darkness, basically. And so when I say that life was a fucking shit show, it's because it was full of darkness, you know? And me just being like, it was bad. It was so bad. But hey, I survived. Here I am, you know? And I will not be silenced. So people can have their opinions of me. I don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't give a shit. In fact, maybe I'll just curse even more. And again, so what happened with that lady I started to say was that first I replied with love, and I thought I was like, that was good. It was what came through was directly from God, and it was so good. And I was like, okay, that's good. And I didn't have any animosity towards her, and I still don't, even though I'm speaking very, kind of with a lot of authority. But then she came at me again. So then I was like, okay, now I need to set a boundary. And so I did. And that boundary was that you have no right to dictate to me my walk with God, my spiritual walk with God. Nobody has any right to dictate that to anyone. Just like I can't dictate that to her, she is not allowed to dictate that to me. And that's true for all of us. Our connection with God is individual. Our beliefs are individual. So anybody who's trying to force you to think a certain way, especially if it doesn't resonate with you and you know in your heart of hearts that it's not right, you don't have to listen to them.